From the day we are born, growing up we are told that if we want to achieve important goals we must work hard and make sacrifices in life. But as obvious as this may seem, is this really the case? While there is no doubt that from time to time we hear stories of people who have become very successful without having had to put in a lot of effort due to various circumstances, think of those who were born to super-rich families and inherited great wealth, or from people who became famous overnight totally by chance. However, these represent exceptions, they do not represent the rule. On the other hand, there are also other people who have worked hard all their lives but never achieved what can be called a success. Having said that, the reality is that there is a direct correlation between how much a person is willing to sacrifice and work hard and his or her likelihood of success, whether that is in terms of money, acquisition of skills or knowledge, or power. Mind you, for some people, a life of happiness does not necessarily require the achievement of certain goals, but rather consists of the continual pursuit of instant gratification. Perhaps spending as much time as possible at the pub with friends talking about the same things every single day, playing their favorite video game every evening, or escaping everyday responsibilities to live in freedom and not having to answer to anyone for their choices. These type of people are often known as a homeless. Sometimes, when people talk about having to work hard, they make it sound almost like they need to climb Mount Everest in a bathing suit, but in reality the meaning of hard work is very simple, and probably any doctor, lawyer, CEO, or Asian person knows it very well. The formula is simpler than one might think. For the same quality of work, the harder one works toward a goal, the more likely he or she will be to achieve that goal. This is not to say that if you want to be successful you have to turn into a Buddhist monk who is completely detached from any pleasures in life. I am the first to stress how important it is to have moments of leisure where you have a great time, but it is the wasted time that should be avoided. For example, if you want to achieve financial security, this process requires an exchange of value, and the more you are willing to put off short-term gratification when you are young and invest that time in self-improvement, the more you will be able to put yourself in a position where you can offer more value when you grow up and are 30, 40 or 50 years old, with all the benefits that will come from that. Similarly, the less work and sacrifice you're willing to do when you're young, the less benefit you'll get later. And this is probably obvious to most of you who have been following this channel for some time, but there are still many naive people out there who seem to live in a world of their own, an idealistic, utopian world, and they think the system should provide for them regardless of the contribution they make to society. For these people I have a simple piece of advice: you are following a path that will lead you to live a life full of regrets. Every one of us on this planet is following a path towards something, and the destination is determined by every step we take in the present moment and that we have taken in the past. And while it is possible to change the final destination, the longer we walk following the wrong path, the more difficult it will then become to take a different route to a new destination, so be careful about the choices you make, or don't make. It is true that in the world some people are born privileged and some are born disadvantaged. In any case, regardless of who you are or what your social status is, there are millions and millions of people who are just like you, and the single thing that each of us has control over and can make us stand out from the crowds is our willingness to work hard, and if you are not willing to do it, then rest assured that someone else will.